Hello, everyone. You are watching or listening to Chatting with Candice. I'm your host, Candice Horbacz. Before we jump into this week's weekly roundup, we're going to do some coffee shout outs. If you want to contribute to the podcast, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Candice. All of it goes right back into the show and is greatly appreciated. Norman, as usual, thank you so much for the cups of coffee. You're awesome. And Wanders, thank you for all of those cups of coffee. If you want to support the podcast, you can also go to chattingwithcandice.com and sign up for our Patreon. You get early access to episodes, you can ask questions, and some bonus content on there as well. Let's see what we're talking about today. I already have some idea. Today is Wednesday, January 15th. We got to start off with the Palisades fires. This level of negligence is really, really astonishing, even for LA. So the Palisades fires, which began on January 7th in the Pacific Palisades neighborhood of Los Angeles, has become one of the most destructive wildfires in the city's history. As of January 10th, the fire has scorched over 20,000 acres and is approximately 8% contained. Let's just check really quick because it has been 5 days, and let's see what percentage of the fire is contained currently. Yikes. So 5 days after the notes for this show were made, we are still only at 19% contained. That is insane. The fire has destroyed over 5,300 structures, surpassing previous records and making it the most destructive fire in Los Angeles history. It has also been reported that insurance companies canceled the fire protection on residents' policies. I think State Farm was one of them that did it about 6 months before the fires hit. A lot of people are trying to say that they were in on some big conspiracy. I think what happened is they simply had people scouting the area, saw what a mess it was, knew that they were in a drought heading into fire season, and just were saying that they couldn't cover that because it was just so potentially disastrous, which obviously they were correct. I don't know that necessarily is a conspiracy. There were some clips of Gavin going around talking about potentially having the state do some land grabs, so that seems a lot like Maui. And then at the same time, he was going to ban private contractors coming in and allegedly lowballing these landowners or homeowners to buy up property. I don't see the difference between them doing it and the state doing it. So I don't buy that for a second. Let's see what this Twitter link is going to take us to. Charlie Kirk, this is a heartbreaking piece of tape. Palisades resident Rachel Darvish rushes to confront Gavin Newsom, begging him for answers and help. She demands to know why the fire hydrants have no water. He claims he's trying to call President Biden but has no service. So let's watch this video.
Governor, I live here, Governor. That was my daughter's school, Governor. Please tell me what you're going to do. I'm not going to hurt him, I promise.
I'm literally talking to the president right now to specifically answer the question of what we can do for you and your daughter.
Can I hear it? Can I hear your call? Because I don't believe it.
I'm sorry. There's literally, I've tried 5 times. That's why I'm walking around to make the call.
Why is the president not taking your call?
Because it's not going through. So
Why?
I have to get cell service.
So
There's
let's
no
get
cell
it.
service.
Let's get it. I want to be here when you call the president.
I appreciate it. I'm doing that right now. And it's to immediately get reimbursements, individual assistance, and to help you. I'm devastated for you. I'm so sorry, especially for your daughter. I have 4 kids losing the school.
Everyone who went to school there, they lost their homes. They lost 2 homes because they were living in one and building another. Governor, please tell me what are you going to do with the president right now?
We're getting the resources to help rebuild. We're getting
Why
the
was there
resources.
no water in the hydrants, Governor?
That's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be. Has to be. Of course.
What are you going to do?
I'm doing
to
everything
fill the
I
hydrants.
can.
I would fill them up personally. You know that.
I literally.
I would fill up the hydrants myself.
I would. I understand.
But would you do that?
I would do whatever I can.
But you're not. I see the. Do you know there's water dripping over there, Governor? There's water coming out there. You can use it.
I appreciate it. I'm going to make the call to address everything I can right now, including making sure people
I'd
are
like
safe.
to make sure you do.
guys.
Can I have an opportunity to at least tell people you're doing what you're saying you're doing? Could somebody have a contact? Can I have your contact information?
He is good at politicking. He's very good at it. I don't believe that he's doing a dang thing. Oh, this is really interesting. So there is a couple that owns about 60% of the state's water. And I got into this rabbit hole a little bit, not as deep as I'd like, but essentially what, to my understanding, they were buying water from reservoirs before the water actually hit there. So you can buy water before it actually rains. You can buy water before it's actually stored. So you can kind of leverage it in a sort of way. So then this family owned more water than the state had at one time and maybe currently now, and then would sell the water back to the state at a premium. So buying the water from the citizens and then selling it back to them when they've already paid for it through tax dollars. So it gets really gross. So let's see what this clip is. There's a couple of really good ones if you guys want to do a little deep dive of your own, but this is where unchecked capitalism is a problem. So let's go into it, or just crony capitalism, essentially.
Hi, Stuart. Hi, Linda. Your city's burning down. Oh, you don't know who these people are? This is Stuart and Linda Resnick. The Resnicks own the Wonderful Company. Ironic, isn't it? Palm, Fiji Water, Wonderful Pistachios. They also own preschools. They develop real estate. Linda and Stuart Resnick use more water than every single resident of Los Angeles combined. Linda and Stuart Resnick own 60% of California's water. Linda and Stuart Resnick own 60% of California's water. This California, where multiple fires are currently at 0% containment. And a 2016 study showed that the Resnick's agricultural businesses were, quote, thought to consume more of the state's water than any other family, farm, or company. So while California continues to burn, you should probably know that Linda and Stuart Resnick.
Yes, there are much longer, thorough videos. If you want to discover more about that couple, I highly encourage it because it is just insane. And I'm all for capitalism, but I do think it seems really weird that you can own water. Like, you can own a state's water. That does seem something. One of the few examples where I do think communism works a little bit. You know what I mean? The fire department, great idea. Maybe water, that should probably be communal. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think anyone should be able to own water, drinking water? Maybe a spot in the mountain, right? Like if you're making delicious, or if you're bottling delicious Mountain Valley water and you've got a location and you're bottling it there, sure, I'm okay with owning the land and accessing the water that way. But to actually own water, maybe I'm an idiot. That just doesn't seem human. Like it's not humanitarian at all. Is this gonna make me log in? Cancel. What's happening here? Why don't I have volume? There we go.
Show him your sign.
That's a little kid at an anti-fascism protest in London holding a sign that says,
F off Nazis, F off Nazis.
Hate speech breeds actions of hate, right?
So to be fair though, this says F off Nazis. Do you think there's a bit of a double standard at play?
I feel like it's my basic duty as a British citizen to say that I stand against racism. Refugees are welcome here, and no far-right group has any place in British society.
Let all the refugees in, let all the asylum seekers in, because we caused the wars, we were to blame for it, so let's let them come here and look after them like we deserve to.
As a people, as humanity, we've only got one world. Racism exists. I've had some of it myself growing up, and it seems to be getting worse again.
This is Britain, this is where we want to be. Look on that side, all basically white men and women standing together, being racist together.
Tell me how they're fascists. Can you explain?
I don't really want to talk to him.
Why is that?
Because I don't want to talk to the press.
Why?
Because I have no reason, and you should stop interviewing.
You seem a little untrustworthy.
Why is that? Just
news in general, like.
Alright, I'm a guy with the YouTube channel.
Right.
Alright, can I see what this is? The Socialist Workers' Party?
I'm trying to pull people away from the far right.
Okay.
Trying to mobilise the side against Tommy Robinson.
Why are you here, Roshi? What do you
If
feel
you're
about Tommy
laughing
Robinson?
at this kid, looks maybe 7. saying that he wants to eat a person because he's a dick, you've kind of failed as a parent, and you're egging it on and cheering it on, smiling like it's cute. That's not cute. The kid has goggles on for anyone that's not watching, because I don't know, you're at a protest and things can go sideways very quickly, and there can be tear gas or people can be throwing things and it can turn violent. That is not how you get your kid involved in civic duty. I am firmly against kids going to any kind of protest. I think it's child endangerment, and these people shouldn't be having kids. You shouldn't be having kids. You're weaponizing your child, and you're morphing their little brain to be just like a miniature version of yourself instead of honoring who they're going to be. Yes, it's your job to influence them in the best ways possible and shape them into the best versions of themselves. And some of that is obviously going to be you rubbing yourself off onto your kid. But this is entirely different. This is like, I see you're my kid as a blank slate, and I'm going to make you into a great and virtuous little protester against the Nazis in the state. It's just so gross to me. Andrew Tate is launching a bid for the UK Prime Minister. Andrew Tate has announced his intention to run for Prime Minister of the United Kingdom in the upcoming general election. Tate has introduced a political entity named BRUV, the BRUV Party, an acronym for Britain Restoring Underlying Values. The party's manifesto includes a range of policies aimed at promoting traditional British values, such as education reforms, proposing the inclusion of wrestling and boxing into school curriculum to foster discipline and fitness. Sure, that sounds great. Cultural changes, advocating for a replacement of modern art installations with statues and monuments commemorating historical British figures, also sounds great. I am not one for modern art. I think if I'm confused if my 5-year-old or my 2.5-year-old made something, it probably shouldn't be in a museum. And there's been a weird intentional hypnosis against the cultures at mass, which is to get us away from beauty and architecture and detail and craftsmanship and mastery and all of those things that actually matter and inspire and are really the only human things that we're going to be able to do once the AI takes over, honestly. But yeah, it's to get the idea is if you can make everything lose its beauty, lose its distinctions to the point where you can't distinguish between New York and the UK from Paris, from Chicago, that everything looks uniform, and then you lose a sense of belonging and identity and group, and then it's all one collective. So that is the rabbit hole you can go into postmodernist architecture and the nefarious reasons that is being propagated. We don't have enough time to do that. Maybe we'll do an episode on it because I do think it's really important. Immigration policies, supporting zero tolerance approach to illegal immigration to preserve national identity and security. Absolutely, all for that. Closed borders all the way, baby. Additionally, Tate has expressed support for cryptocurrency adoption, including the creation of a national Bitcoin reserve and the implementation of a blockchain technology to facilitate digital voting and weekly referendums. I have been saying this for years. We have voter fraud. It's not zero. This is universal. We should be using some kind of blockchain technology to make sure that every vote is a real vote and to make all fraudulent votes go to null. So that would be that. All of this sounds brilliant. And this is the problem before we get into the video. Andrew Tate is a master at marketing. He's obviously very intelligent. The problem is that he is good at playing his audience. So if he's talking to somebody and he kind of knows where they lean or what they want to hear, he can say exactly what is going to sound like music to your ears, and you're going to be like, yes, 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 this all makes so much sense. All of these things make so much sense. The problem is that he sways with the wind, and then when he has these more vulgar podcasts and he lets this other side of him out, you don't know which one is the real him. I have an idea. I think it's probably the more vulgar one. That's what my spidey senses say. But either way, you're not consistent. And I'm all for letting the courts decide whether you're innocent or guilty. He has been found innocent of pretty much all of his charges, so I can't say one way or another. But what I can say is there are very troubling videos of him admitting to certain behaviors with women, with his previous cam companies, and I don't think that that's a principled man or a man that is really deserving of a position like this in leadership. So regardless of how his political approach is going to be, or all of these reforms that he wants to make, which sound amazing and on paper they are. If it was coming from someone else, I think that'd be a little bit more believable. I just think he's saying the right things and he wouldn't know what to do once he actually got into that office. And I think that there is no chance that it actually happens. It doesn't matter that he's the most Googled man on earth in 2024, which no one knows if that's true. I don't know if that's true. He's self-proclaimed that. It takes more than being popular on Google. It takes more than a bunch of money. It takes more than internet fame to get elected. I mean, we see celebrities when they try to throw their hat in the political arena, and we see someone like Taylor Swift, who is a billionaire. So she's got a lot more money than you, Andrew. I hate to say it. And more notable, massive following, and she couldn't make a sway in even a local Tennessee office. So I think him becoming prime minister is not going to happen, not even a close chance. But let's see what he says in this video.
The party in the UK, a brief comment. Brief comment on that.
Yeah, UK politics is an absolute mess. Everyone's lost interest because they're two sides of the same coin. It's completely corrupt garbage and nobody understands anything. I grew up in Luton. I grew up on the streets. I grew up amongst the knife crime. I grew up amongst the drugs. I grew up amongst the problems. Now I'm one of the most successful and famous people on the planet, and I know I can fix it because I'm more competent than all of these clowns. The chance of me becoming UK Prime Minister within the next 10 years is somewhere near 100% because I'm one of the most well-known people on the planet who can self-fund, and everybody understands that even if you don't like me, I get things done. I will be the next UK Prime Minister. I guarantee that there is a timeline that everybody is going to live in. Every single person watching this video at some point in the future is going to watch me become the Prime Minister of the UK. And I will fix every single problem. I've laid out how I'm going to do it. You can go to votebrov.co.uk and you will see exactly how I'll fix all the issues that are facing a previously once great nation. The UK was the greatest nation in the world. We ruled the seas, and it has fallen and failed in the sight of this eternal wokeness, garbage, feminism crap. And I'm going to fix all of it.
Do you think women will vote for you?
Me.
Women would vote for you?
Women have voted for me every single night of my life since I was 16 years old, sir, because my house is full of them. Thank you. From now on, I prefer you referred to me as Mr. Future Prime Minister.
We will.
Thank you.
Oh my God, this guy. What I will say is, can it get worse over there, though? Would it be worse to have him as prime minister? I don't know if that's possible. So maybe, I can't believe I'm going to say this, maybe give him a chance, you guys, because you have let your country go to absolute shit. So maybe just swing the other way. We've got Red Pill Zuck. I'm almost done with his Rogan episode, and I will say, especially in the beginning, I'm so impressed. The episode, he is self-deprecating, he's relatable, he tells you his struggles with media and how you can be so good at one thing and awful at other things. It really humanized him in a really cool way. And I know a lot of people are giving him shit and saying that he's just copying whatever Elon does. He's not trustworthy. What do you think about the shift? What I see a lot that's happening on the right now is when people have a change of heart or a change of mind on an opinion, let's say COVID, let's say censorship, and they start coming over and saying that was wrong, I was wrong, I believe in the freedom of speech, I'm becoming a freedom of speech absolutist, the way that the government handled COVID is wrong, whatever it is, whatever that shift is to more of a right-leaning narrative, or honestly just like a centered perspective, the right is kind of not offering so much grace or forgiveness. And what I would caution with that is that starts to emulate the woke left, like what wokeism and progressivism, which is the religion of ideology of virtue and groupthink. And if you're not with the team, you're an other, and there is no room for forgiveness. It's cancel culture, right? You did one thing 10 years ago and there's no path to forgiveness or grace or evolution. That is what the left is about. So anyone on the right who is doing that, I would say try to offer an on-ramp to welcome these people in. Now, there's going to be exceptions, right? Like if Fauci all of a sudden was like, I don't believe in gain-of-function research, or the way that I was mandating vaccines or masks, I wouldn't do that again, or I mishandled the entire pandemic, please forgive me. I would say throw that guy off of a cliff still. I can't trust him as far as you can throw him. But those are exceptions. I think widely speaking, if someone has a change of heart, you should offer some grace and forgiveness and welcome more people onto your side, because that's how you win elections. That's how you win the culture wars. And you're not going to get it by permanently outcasting anyone who made a mistake. So let's look at the Zuckerberg quote from X. This is a Benny Johnson tweet. Or an X, a Z, I think is what Mark Andreessen is calling him.
So at the beginning, it kind of seemed like, okay, we should give a little bit of deference to the government and the health authorities on how we should play this. But when it went from, 2 weeks to flatten the curve to, and like in the beginning, it was like, okay, there aren't enough masks. Masks aren't that important. To then it's like, oh no, you have to wear a mask. And, everything was shifting around. It just became very difficult to kind of follow. And this really hit the most extreme, I'd say, during the Biden administration when they were trying to roll out the vaccine program. And I'm generally pretty pro rolling out vaccines. I think on balance, the vaccines are more positive than negative. But I think that while they're trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone who was basically arguing against it. And they pushed us super hard to take down things that were true, right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said, anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically need to take down. And I was just like, well, we're not going to do that. We're clearly not going to do that. I mean, that is kind of inarguably true.
Who is they? Who's telling you to take down things that
it was
that talk about vaccine side effects?
It was people in the Biden administration.
So some people are saying anyone that says basically in the same sentence is lying. I don't think he's lying. I think he's being really honest. And I think it's actually brave still, because even though Trump won, he's going to be in office the beginning of next week. And it does seem like a more welcoming cultural environment to say these things. It's still risky. And I don't know, if I had 3-letter agencies and the government that was calling and screaming at me and banging on doors and telling me how to run my company, I'd be pretty scared. So I think he just threw them all under the bus. So I think this is great. I think that he doesn't, I don't know if deserve is the right word, because he does need to know how wrong he was. But I think that's what this is, right? He goes on the world's largest podcast to say how he was pressured, to say that he made the wrong decisions, and to say that he wouldn't do it again, and that he's going to take more of an approach similar to what Elon's doing with community notes, not hiring these third-party fact checkers. I think it's all good stuff. I mean, I still wouldn't trust him, I mean, I'm guarantee he's still selling your data to China and all of that. So there's that part of it. But I do think, hopefully, that he is going to allow some more free speech on his platforms and hopefully get rid of some of the censorship that exists, whether it's for politically right-leaning people, for people that have gun channels would be a good example, for people that are promoting sexual wellness, promoting CBD. All of these things are currently really throttled, so I'd like to see how that changes in the upcoming months. The problem, too, is all of this coding is so entangled. How do you begin to take off all of these throttles and these brakes? I don't know. I obviously am not a coder. Maybe it's much more simpler than I'm imagining, but hopefully in the next couple months, we'll see a really big shift when it comes to censorship. The next one is really interesting. I finished this episode with Mel Gibson, and it was kind of a hard watch for me. He's an interesting dude, very animated when he talks. I felt like he was more in character, but I heard that's actually just how he is. The thing that got a lot of attention is he's sharing a story about some alternative medicines that have cured his 3 friends' cancer. Now, let's watch the clip and then we can dive into the rest of it after.
I'll tell you a good story.
Okay.
I have 3 friends. All 3 of them had stage 4 cancer. All 3 of them don't have cancer right now at all. And they had some serious stuff going on.
And what did they take?
Jesus. They took some, what you've heard they've taken.
ivermectin, and
Fenbendazole.
fenbendazole. Yeah.
That
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm hearing that a lot.
They drank hydrochloride something or other.
There's studies on that now where people have proven that
People
they've
drinking methylene blue and stuff like that.
Yeah, methylene blue, which was a fabric dye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a textile dye. And now they find out it has profound effects on your mitochondria.
Yep.
Yeah.
This stuff works, man.
There's a lot of stuff that does work, which is very strange because, again, it's profit. When you hear about things that are demonized and that turn out to be effective, you always wonder, well, what is going on here? How is our medical institutions, how have they failed us so that things that do cure you are not promoted because they're not profitable?
Okay, so before anyone jumps to any conclusions, there are currently some peer-reviewed papers showing ivermectin as an immunotherapy for cancer. I'm going to pull that up right now. So this one right here is by Dr. Thomas Eichmann. Ivermectin converts cold tumors hot and synergizes with immune checkpoint blockade for treatment of breast cancer. This is the abstract. We show that the treatment with the FDA-approved anti-parasitic drug ivermectin induces immunogenic cancer death cells, ICD, and robust T-cell infiltration into the breast tumors. As an allocentric modulator of the ATP P2X4, P2X7 axis, which operates in both cancer and immune cells, ivermectin also selectively targets immunosuppressive populations, including myeloid cells and TREGs, resulting in enhanced TEF-TREGs ratio. While neither agent alone showed efficacy in vivo, combination therapy with ivermectin and a checkpoint inhibitor, anti-PD-1 antibody achieved synergy in limiting growth by a what do you call them? It's the P.03. It's been a long time since I was in school, guys. And promoted complete responses P less than 0.01, also leading to immunity against contralateral re-challenge with demonstrated anti-tumor immune responses. Going beyond primary tumors, this combination achieved significant reduction in relapse after neoadjuvant and adjuvant treatment, potential cures in metastatic disease. Statistical modeling confirmed bona fide synergies activity in both the adjuvant and metastatic settings. Ivermectin, oh my God, I can't talk. This is why I'm not a doctor, because I'm not smart enough. Ivermectin has dual immunomodulatory and ICD-inducing effects in breast cancer, converting cold tumors hot, thus represents a rational mechanistic, oh my God, mechanistic partner with checkpoint blockade. What I just read with my lay person's brain was that it works, that it's statistically significant amount, which was like the P.03, that it works. Also, if you're dying of stage 4 cancer, wouldn't you just throw the kitchen sink at it? Like, I don't think it's dangerous at that point. Maybe if you're earlier on, it's like stage 1, 2, 3 is still pretty significant. Maybe start with more of the traditional things. Like, obviously go find an oncologist that has really great reviews. I would be trying everything. I would be going east and west. I would be, doing my essential oils and eating keto and like watching what I think and meditating and ice bath and sauna and drinking this blue dye that they talked about. And I would also be talking to my doctor. Kitchen sink it, baby. In other news, the FDA bans red dye number 3 amid health and political speculation. The U.S. FDA has officially banned red dye number 3 from the foods due to its cancer risks. This decision comes after Europe and Australia had already banned the dye for similar health conditions years prior. The move has sparked discussions on social media, and many attributing the ban to the influence of RFK Jr., who has been vocal about food safety issues and is anticipated to take a significant role in health policy. You're telling me that our scientists are not as good, knowledgeable, or up to date as the Aussies? You want me to believe that for a moment? There's no way. So the only other thing is negligence or greed. Maybe a combination of both. But if we knew, which we absolutely did, that red dye number 3 was highly you know what I'm saying, that it was a carcinogen to that level that everyone else is banning it, why that is in our food? Why am I giving that to my kid? I'm not. I certainly am not giving that to my kid, but lots of parents did, and they didn't know better. Now, my question is, what's the difference between, let's ask ChatGPT, my best friend, what's the difference between red dye number 3 and red dye 40? Because 40 is the one I hear a lot about, and that I believe has the connection to behavioral issues like ADD, aggression. Red dye 3 and red dye 40 are both synthetic food colorings but different in composition, application, and regulatory status. Here's the breakdown of the differences. Chemical composition. Red dye number 3 is made from iodine containing from an iodine containing organic compound. Organic doesn't mean anything, folks. Remember that. Its chemical structure includes sodium and iodine atoms, giving it a pink red hue. Red dye 40 is made from coal tar or petroleum. So they banned the one that is made of the iodine containing organic compound. And again, cyanide's is an organic compound, so don't let that mislead you. But the one made from coal tar and petroleum is still in your food. Red dye 40 is more shelf stable compared to 3 is a more stable chemical. Excuse me, it's a more stable chemical. Red dye 3 is a bright cherry pink color. Red dye 40 is a deep red. We can't get rid of our deep red food, guys. Red dye 3 is used in candies, maraschino cherries, baked goods, and certain medications. Limited use because of health concerns. Well, we've just got rid of it. So how long until it's not in production is also the question. Do all of these factories have to immediately get rid of it? Or do they get to finish out whatever they have in stock? Probably the latter. Red dye 40 is widely used in soft drinks, snack foods, cereal, dairy products, and cosmetics, favored due to its stability. Regulatory status. Red dye 3 is in the US is partially banned due to linking it to thyroid tumors. It is prohibited in cosmetics and external drugs, but allowed in some food and ingestible drugs. Banned in several other countries. Red dye 40 is approved for use in the US. It is controversial but has not been banned. Studies have suggested a potential link to hyperactivity in children, especially those sensitive to artificial dyes. Guess what? All of your kids are sensitive to artificial dyes. Every single one of them. There's not a single kid that is not sensitive to dyes or to sugar. That is just a human element. This is not natural. You're not supposed to eat it. You don't get to feed your kid this trash and say, you're bad, go take a timeout. Like, maybe stop giving your kid this freaking poison. But you already know my rant on that. Health concerns. Red dye 3, classified as potential carcinogen by the FDA based off of animal studies showing thyroid tumors, has led to more restricted usage over time. Good. Red dye 40, linked to behavioral issues such as hyperactivity in children and those that with other sensitivities or ADHD. Considered less toxic than red dye 3, but still remains under scrutiny. Guys, please stop eating this junk. If you go to movie theaters and you want a thing of Twizzlers and it's once in a blue moon, that's probably not going to do much. It might make your kid act a little bit crazy for a few hours. I don't see the issue. I'm not a zealot about this stuff, but it's the people that are saying they don't have time to make proper food that are using, or that are it's something like, I don't know the number of Americans it's alarmingly high, but almost 80% of all of their calories being consumed are from processed foods. I'm talking to those people. You gotta stop. You have no idea who you are. You become so disconnected. You're going to be so unhealthy. You're going to pay for it later. Just throw it all away. And if you don't know what to make, just throw on a steak, throw on some veg, call it a day, right? Anyone can make a steak. Anyone can make a burger. Anyone can make scrambled eggs. Start with those whole foods and go from there. You don't need to be Gordon Ramsay to be healthy. You can do it on a budget. There's really no excuse, but ignorance is no longer one. Stability, we already went through that. Red dye 40 is more stable, so that's why they love it. Doesn't sound like either is great. They're allegedly saying red dye 40 is healthier. I don't know that I would be trusting what healthier means. I would just say don't eat it. Don't put it in your body, and certainly don't put it in your little's body. Moving on, Cart Girl has a wild interaction with a golfer. Instead of being a cart girl, you should start a bakery with that cake, said probably a 65-year-old white man. Let's find out.
For Halloween, perfect.
Oh my god, okay.
Glad
somebody finally got it. Wow. That was smooth.
Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary, yeah. Do you like it spicy?
A little bit, sure.
A little bit. What about you?
Electric. I like mine in some leggings and a yellow jacket.
Yellow.
White,
Leave
whatever.
her colorblind.
Or a dirty ass jacket. How about that? I'm just kidding. Stupid. May I do? What do you like to drink? That's non-alcoholic. I'm recovering alcoholic. Recovering from last night.
We got a comedian on our hands. I love it.
Shit, you want to start laughing?
You and me
I'm gonna pull my
both.
shorts down. You guys have anything to eat?
Potentially.
Besides yourself?
I love it. You gotta come around more often.
It's all the time. Oh, I'll be coming.
Oh.
Shit, we're gonna have to go 2 times.
It's hilarious.
Looks like that we'd have to go 2 or 3 times. You have like
2 seconds each round?
Yeah. Some girls don't like them this quick. But at least I'm quick and painless. You guys have iced tea?
I have Arnold Palmer's.
Dude, instead of fucking cart girl, you should start a bakery with all that cake. That house would put Betty Crocker out of business. God damn. Fuck.
I'm done.
That thing's so fucking nice. It's disrespectful to sit down on.
Oh my god. Really wasn't expecting this. I love it.
No, you never are.
I've heard it all, but I'm feeling
You have
offers.
not heard. Not, I can keep going. I'm kind of just testing the waters on someone.
Oh my god, okay.
Thank you.
Spicy bloody.
So I'll put like
So I worked at a Hooters in Myrtle Beach, golf capital of the country, basically. And this is par for the course. I also was a cart girl once or twice and a caddy girl once or twice. Golfers are a special breed of man, especially when they're on vacation. The problem is if she's really upset about it, if you watch the video, she's laughing, she's flirting, she's also, she's playing the game, and that's a game. She wants a big fat tip, so she'll be like a little bit flirtatious and kind of give him the attention he wants. He'll say a couple of crude things, they go on their way. She seemed, I don't know if there was let me see if there's a caption to what she wrote. She just said it's the wildest interaction I've ever had. She doesn't seem to have a big issue with it, which is fine. If she was like, this guy's a harasser, then I would call bullshit because you're welcoming it at that point. I don't know. It starts a bigger conversation of just because you're in the service industry, do you have to tolerate overtly sexual comments and behavior? I mean, when I was waitressing, you'd have guys come in and like grope you, so like actually physically grab you without permission. So there's definitely a line. It seems to get crossed often, and a lot of girls tolerate it because they want a big tip at the end of the night. And I actually used to make more money working at Hooters in a double shift than I would make in the same amount of hours on set when I first started shooting. And while like that was amazing because I think it kept me from doing scenes strictly for money. Like it actually protected me in a lot of ways, but it just shows you how much money there is in the service industry if you're wearing a tight outfit and you're around a bunch of dudes, and part of the game is flirting. So I don't know. I think it will always exist, and if you don't want to deal with that kind of behavior, just get a different job. But it can get really exhausting. OF model Bonnie Blue says that she has broken the world record by sleeping with 1,057 men in just 12 hours. Let's watch this. Oh my God.
The big 1000 was completely done. So it started off, I'll give you a bit of an overview, gangbangs after gangbangs to start with. It was just like, the room was absolutely full. Then we did groups of 5, like one after the other of 5s. I wanted to give people more time, so then it went down to like one-on-ones, didn't it? So like one person would watch whilst I was with somebody, and then it would literally just be like a rotating circle like that.
Hey Siri, how many seconds are in 12 hours? What is 43,200 divided by 1,057? So each guy got about 40 seconds. If this is true. I don't think this is true. I do think she probably slept with a lot of men. A lot of men. I don't think that it's physically possible to get through 1,057 in 12 hours, especially if she just made that claim that she went down to one-on-ones to give them more time. What I think she's doing is she's marketing herself incredibly effective. She knows that people are going to be talking about this, that it's salacious, and it's going to get a lot of people to subscribe to her account to see this mess. One of my internet friends, Phil Labonte, reposted her and said, okay, fine, ban OF already. And I commented and said, this is kind of like when you have some kind of monster that misuses a firearm and everyone says to ban all firearms. Most people that have a firearm are responsible gun owners. Most people that have an OF or that are in the adult space are responsible. I think women like this are the outlier. Even if she didn't get to the numbers she's claiming, which is my belief, I think the example she's setting is obviously not healthy for anybody, but I don't think she's concerned about that. She's just trying to get paid, and I'm sure that she is, and that's fine. I'm a free speech absolutist. You all know that, and that includes porn. Sorry, guys, it does. I believe people have the freedom to make whatever kind of mistakes they want and to live the lives that they want, so long as they are not negatively affecting or hurting anyone else. I don't think it's ethical. She was saying that she's, sleeping with fresh 18-year-olds and putting them on camera. I wouldn't be okay with a man doing that, so I'm not okay with a woman doing that. I think 18 is too young. It's not great. It's not great behavior, but it's her life. I do think it's gross. I'll say that, and I do think that she is probably going to regret this, but we'll see. I'm not her, and she's free to do what she wants. It's just not for me. I don't love how influential some of these people are, and that it can, rub off onto young girls. And honestly, the right is just as guilty as anyone else, because when we retweet and when we're talking about it, like I'm talking about it, you give it more attention, and then it gets more likes, and then you have these young people that are like, that Z, if you want to, what was he calling it? Whatever. I'm going to say tweet had 21 million views. So let alone on all the other accounts, that one tweet thread had 21 million views. So you're going to have a young, impressionable girl that's like, I can be so rich and famous if I do this. Please don't. Please don't. First of all, you're not going to be. This is an anomaly. Absolute anomaly. Just don't do it. But for her, she's a grown-ass woman. Do what she wants. Women, oh gosh. This woman, it was scammed out of over 800,000 pounds. I thought it was 80 grand when I was talking to a friend earlier. I think it was 830 pounds. So roughly $900,000 by a catfish pretending to be Brad Pitt. And not like this woman lived under a rock and didn't know it was Brad Pitt and she just thought it was a handsome guy she was talking to. No, she thought she was talking to actual Brad Pitt. And this woman is a regular looking older lady, so not like a 50-year-old J-Lo banging bod can compete with 20-year-olds. I'm talking a regular 50-year-old lady, right? And you think that Brad Pitt is in love with you. I need some of that confidence, please. Just give me a little bit of that, because it is not even close to that level. There is a full article. I heard it's worth the read. I got some screenshots sent to me. It is insane. This woman posted a picture of her skiing with her husband. Catfish swoops in and is like, my son needs a woman like you, and enter Brad Pitt. So then she believes that she's now having these intimate conversations with Brad Pitt, divorces her husband, gets about £730,000 in the divorce, she starts sending Brad Pitt money. He says that he has this terminal illness and he needs life-saving surgery that is going to cost £60,000. She does one transfer for £60,000. We're going to show some pictures. Please put the pictures here. Insert pictures here so people can see how freaking horrible these AI-generated photos are. And she falls for this. He's like holding up a sign that says, "Anna, I love you," but he looks like he's being held captive. There's a picture of his like perfectly smooth face undergoing surgery. Like, that's a thing. Just these pictures are so unbelievable, but it shows the delusion. And eventually she ends up paying someone else who claims to be an FBI agent that's going to help her get her money back, and she sends that guy a bunch of money. So then she ends up in the hole, and she's now suing for fraud, but I don't know who she's suing. I couldn't find that in the article. There's no one to sue. These are giant warehouses in Ghana filled with hundreds of thousands of devices that are coming up with these concoctions. There's no one to sue. You have to use your frontal lobe. This is insane. There is clearly no executive function happening in this lady. On a sadder note, she's obviously very lonely, very depressed, and that she needs some kind of connection, which is why she is the cognitive dissonance that's happening here to avoid pain, to avoid reality, to believe that Brad Pitt just is waiting for his divorce with Angelina Jolie so he can come be in your arms is bananas. Like, you have to be so lonely for you to trick yourself into thinking that's a reality. The reason I wanted to cover this, not because it's so ridiculous, but because I have had countless issues with catfish, some very dangerous, some very terrifying, some that have involved the authorities. And there was a time where I would just try to fight all these accounts and take them all down and put up these PSAs, like, especially around the holidays, please don't fall for this. But when I see this level of retardation, because that's what it is, I know some people can't be saved. And this is modern social Darwinism at its finest. And this is just plucking off the weak to save the herd, because this is insane. It made me feel a little bit better, because I'm like, there's really nothing I can do. It's an exhausted effort, and that sucks. I can't say I feel bad when it's this dumb. I just can't. The littler ones, maybe some are more convincing, but again, I don't know where you have to be in your life to send someone money that you've never met, especially when it's freaking Brad Pitt or a celebrity. Tim Kennedy posts a bunch of this. He has a bunch of catfish as well, and he'll post fake passports that people have concocted, and you can tell they're fake. You just need to spend half a second glancing at it. You're like, that's clearly not a real passport photo. It's people pretending to be him as well. So this is any person on the internet, especially if you're like a public-facing personality. It's just going to happen, and I don't really know a solution. I don't know if we're going to ever be able to figure out which accounts are bots and be able to weed them out and hopefully not have them on the platform. Unfortunately, the only solution I see right now is going on something like Minds, which is using blockchain technology, I believe, or at least that is part of their long-term vision for the company. But I don't see there being a solution other than using some portion of your brain, just like a little bit of your brain, please. Please, please, please. And this woman's daughter was telling her, "You're being scammed, Mom. Please stop." This woman lost everything. And she's like, "Well, when you see us together, when you see me with Brad Pitt, you're going to say sorry. Your daughter was right. You should have listened, you idiot. And now you're sleeping on your friend's couch. You're penniless, and you have a GoFundMe to try to recuperate your damages." Oh my gosh. You need to go back to your husband and just beg forgiveness. Just beg for forgiveness. Good God. Let's end on a positive note, shall we? Is this a genius dog? It's a French bulldog that can do math better than most people. I'm not sure that there is any such thing as a smart Frenchie, but let's find out. That's not a Frenchie, is it? It's a huge Frenchie.
What the Yeah. 12 divided by 4. How does he know this? I had to work that out. 120 divided by 12.
3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No way!
6 times 3 divided by 2. What? How do you
Are you
know
for
this?
real?
How do you know?
Is this real? I feel like we're getting duped. Either way, that's actually really adorable. So for anyone that's not watching, which I highly recommend you do, you can do that on Spotify or YouTube. But the dog is sitting there and she has her fist out and he's pawing at her hand, counting the answer accurately to all of that, which is really, I would just start trying some other stuff. Like start asking him philosophical questions and see, like have like a yes or no. Like a hand that's yes or no. I don't know. I'd start asking that dog some more serious questions other than math. That was actually very impressive. And I don't want to ruin it, so I'm going to tell myself that it's real. Let's see. I want to answer my question. Where? Here. On the ranking for intelligence for dog breeds, what number does a French bulldog come in at? Poor Frenchies. Frenchies rank 109th out of 138 as far as intelligence goes. Why the low ranking? French bulldogs are independent and stubborn, traits often mistaken for lack of intelligence. However, they're highly intuitive and form a strong bond with their humans, making them wonderful companions despite their ranking. Poor Frenchies. I'm a German Shepherd girl myself. I will be forever. Well, that's it for this week's episode, our weekly roundup. We got a lot in. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging in there. Hopefully you liked our funny video at the end. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, give us a 5-star rating, and then check out our sponsors and affiliates below. Share this with a friend or two. It'll help the channel grow, help the podcast grow, and we will see you for the next episode. Bye, everybody.